एक पल में ही थम सा गया.
Someone tapped on Jungkook's shoulder. He looked behind him and saw Wine standing with a smile on her face, and she had a milkshake in her hand. Wine, Mommy sent this for you, Jungkook sighed and accepted the shake. JK, I told you not to bother Aunt. Wine, it's okay, she loves you, she said with her cheering voice. Jungkook is a cousin of Wine. He's senior of Wine. He's only friend Wine had in her life. She's an introvert and a quiet girl. She doesn't like to be friends with someone. The tea went well. Wine packed her bag and started to leave. She went outside and waited for Jungkook to come. Her mom asked Jungkook if he could pick her up. Wine was seeing Jungkook from distance. He was with his friends, laughing and smiling at them. Wine didn't call him. She smiled, seeing him happy with his friends. Wine didn't call him. She smiled, seeing him happy with his friends, but she saw a girl leaning towards Jungkook. She was saying something in his ear while smiling. She felt something strange in her heart, but she ignored the thoughts. She leaned onto the wall and waited for him. JK Pop, he was so busy with his friends he didn't see the time. It's already too late. He looked here and there to find Wine and saw her leaning onto the wall waiting for him. Jungkook, I'll meet you guys in the morning. He went towards Wine and said, why didn't you call me? Wine looked up at him. Wine, I thought you were busy. JK walked towards his car and Wine went behind him. JK, don't wait for too long next time. Just give me a call. Wine, Jungkook opened the door and she sat in the car and went to driving seat and sat inside. Wine asked in a low voice, Wine, was she your girlfriend? She looked at his side, waiting for him to see something. JK turned his face to her side and looked at her sudden question, and then back to the front. JK, no, he only said in his right tone. The answer made Wine somewhat relaxed. She huffed and started looking out of the window. After that, she started chattering again non-stop, telling him about her day, but she was only responding with one word. When she noticed he wasn't invested in her talking, she stopped and started looking outside. Jungkook kept looking at her time to time to see her. He saw her side face, the smile on his lips spread a little. He took a long breath. The time when they were in the same college, they both were so close to each other. But one thing that changed between them, they were like best friends. One always tell him whatever happened in a day, but now they are more distant than before when Jungkook left for university. He started to keep himself away from her. He stopped responding her text message, and now after 2 years, Wan got admission in university. She didn't want to go to the same university as him, but her parents forced her to take admission here. She was hurt. She had so many questions in her heart to ask from him, but he's always acted like in front of her like he doesn't bother. She wanted to recreate her bond with him again, and that's why she's always putting efforts. She hugs him whenever they meet, and he also doesn't stop her. But now it seems like he doesn't care. They reached home when Wine moved forward to his side and side hugged him and tells him, Wine, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, she said, and he just nodded. She got down from the car and he left from there. She looked at his car and sighed. I miss the old you. She looked down and went inside. shake it off. At midnight, he was lying on the bed and was engulfed in some thoughts. He remembered how she waits for him, how she talks to him. She was trying everything to get close to him again. But he remembered something. The last day in his college, when he was ready to propose her, but heard her talking to her friend. Flashback, Sarah. You know I have a biggest crush on him. I love him so much. I think he will not accept me. This is the last day of him at the college. He left from there thinking it wasn't the best time to speak to her, but the next minute he saw her coming out, holding her hand with one of the boys and laughing with him nonstop. Maybe he was the one, he thought. He felt a pinch in his heart. He wanted to go from there any minute. This wasn't something he thought. He was hurt at that time. He closed his eyes tightly, thinking about everything he knew. He can't live with her hearing that she loves someone else. That's why he started to get distance from her so that he will forget her. But that wasn't the case. He was unconsciously remembering her. Many girls tried to approach him, but he rejected them because he couldn't get her out from his heart. But now she's back again and started to get closer to him. He can't see her sad too. The next night, Wine was busy getting ready for the party in the club of university. She wore the black dress. It was enhancing her beautiful curves and making her more beautiful. She did light makeup and done her hair. She looked herself in the mirror for the last time. She was looking lavishly beautiful. She remembered how in the college Jungkook used to compliment her every time, even though she would be in her pajamas, but now everything changed. She grabbed her purse and went outside. When, Mom, I'm leaving, the driver starts the car and she left from there. At university, Jungkook was standing with his friends. They were having fun. He wore a black turtleneck, which makes him more handsome under the dim light of the party. When he looked around until his eyes locked on someone, his lips parted. She was standing in the middle of the crowd. Silk wrapped around her figure, making her ethereal beauty. She went to the bar area. His eyes were captivated on her, only her, when suddenly she disappeared in the crowd. Jungkook looked back to his friends and had a sip of drink. Wine went to the bar to find someone. She was looking for someone when she saw his back. She smiled and quickly grabbed a glass of wine and went towards him. After some time, his friend's word caught his attention. Alessandro. Jungkook, how about your cousin? Jungkook, what about her? He asked, unbothered to them. Alessandro, she is fire, you know? Jungkook was drinking, listening to them. Joey, come on, she is gorgeous. Jungkook, she's just too dull and boring. Stop thinking about her. Alessandro, yeah, too clingy too. He laughed. The words cut through Wine's ear. It ripped Wine's heart when she just heard him saying about herself she was sad, so that was the reason he distanced himself from her. because she was too dull and boring. She gulped her tears back. She was trying everything to make up back again, but now, not now. It's just too much for her to take. She turned around and left from there. Jungkook stopped talking shit. He took a sip and went from there. Alessandro, I told you he's madly in love with her. They laughed, looking at his back. Why am I running behind him? It was all the past. Why did I started to like him? He doesn't deserve me. I hate you. She murmured those words. She was sitting in a bar alone while drinking too much when she saw Jungkook coming towards her. Jungkook, hey, when she got up and went from there without giving him a glance. Jungkook was surprised to see her ignoring him. She doesn't ignore him. It was so unusual of her. She was looking so different now, more like broken. He looked at her. She was just walking alone, looking downward. Maybe she was going out. He slowly walked behind her, taking big steps, hand in his jeans pocket. Shaky, what happened? He asked from her, who didn't even look at him. She didn't reply to him and kept walking. He whined, Jungkook said, but one gaze flickered past him as if he wasn't even there. Confused, he tried again, reaching out to gently touch her arm. Is everything okay? Wine finally turned to him, her expression guarded. Oh, hey, Jungkook, she said coolly, her tone distant. I'm fine, thanks. Jungkook was surprised at her response. This was so unusual of her. Without letting him see anything, she left from there and he looked at her back. She ran inside her room and locked the door. Her back leans to the door and she slid on the floor. Her tears were making a way out from her eyes continuously. She whined, why, Jungkook? You always pushed me. I see it was only me every time. She lazily got up from the floor and laid on the bed. She fell asleep there. The next morning, Wine woke up with her puffy eyes. She remembered what happened last night, but she promised herself that that was the last time she cried, and now she needs to value herself more. She freshened up and went to the university quickly because she was late for her lecture. She was walking quickly and went to her classroom without noticing anyone. Jungkook was waiting for her in the entrance of the apartment. Last night he couldn't sleep because he couldn't forget Wine's behavior. She didn't text him today, didn't talk to him. He saw her going in the class before he could call her. She went past him and looked at her back, who didn't even look at him. He sighed, looking at her back, and went from there confusingly. She didn't bring anything for him today. He bit his lips in frustration. Jungkook was feeling empty the whole day. Not once Wine looked at him. Anytime he tried to get close to her, she ignored him like he doesn't exist. She completely detached herself from him. Jackie got a call from Wayne's mom who asked him to pick her up. He knows this will be the only time where he will talk to her calmly. He was standing beside his car waiting for her. He looked around and saw her coming up, but there was also someone beside her and she was laughing with him. His heart sank. A pang of jealousy tightened in his chest. He stood there seeing her who was getting closer to her. She looked everywhere except him. While passing by him, Jungkook held Wan's hand, making both of them stop in their track. Jackie aunt asked me to drop you home. Wan, leave my hand. Jungkook embarrassingly left her hand. Come, we are getting late. Wan, actually you don't need to. Nico will drop me home. Before he could say anything, she left from there. He sadly saw her back, going with someone else. He sighed and got into the car. He put his head on the steering wheel and pat his head slowly on it. He turned on the engine and drove away. Later that night, Jungkook was looking at his phone, and on the screen there was Wine and Jungkook. They both were standing together, smiling while looking at each other. He remembers the time she always chatted in front of him, but now she's barely showing her face to him. She pretended like it doesn't exist. One tear left from his eye while looking at the photo and remembering the past. He clicked her number, but her number was busy. Another addition in his worry. He thought distancing away from her is a good thing until she started distancing herself from him. And now he can't take that. But what he could do at that moment, except distancing themselves? Maybe she decided to do this. He sighed. For the next 2 days, she ignored him completely. No text. Jungkook was feeling restless without her. She changes her route whenever she saw him coming towards her. She also started to spend more time with Nico. Jungkook saw her coming from the department again with same Nico. Jungkook had enough. She was continuously ignoring him. He walked towards her and stopped in front of her. Wine tried to pass by him, but before she could, he held her hand and dragged her with him. Wine looked at him confusingly. Wine, leave my hand, Jungkook, she said in the loud voice. Jiggy, we need to talk. Wine, there is nothing to talk. He stopped in front of his car. Jiggy, something happened and you are going to tell me, but enough was enough. Wine took out her hand from his grip and pushed him back and shouted on him. Wine, why are you asking me, huh? She pushed him. You were the one who left me. And she again pushed him. Now, why are you here? You should feel good that I finally let go of you. With a more loud voice. I am clingy, right? Telling boring, you remember? I hate you so much. She was saying everything while hitting on his chest continuously. Her tears spread out on her face, pouring her feelings in her words. He let her do that without any word. It was the worst mistake of mine that I loved you. I hate you so much, Jungkook. She stopped and looked at him one last time. Her eyes, which were holding tears, looked at Jungkook, who was just standing still in front of her, knowing she heard him. Before he could hold her, try to explain anything, one steps back and removed the tear from her face. You win, Jungkook. I lost. She turned around and ran from there. She stopped the taxi outside and went away. Jungkook, who was looking at her back, her tearing face came in front of his eyes again and again. He hurt her in the most worst way. It was the first time he saw her like this, his legs shaken. He fell on the ground on his knees. He wasted the years thinking she doesn't like him. He was punishing both of them of the mistake which never exists. This was the first time when the boy was sitting on his knees. He put his hand on the ground to stable himself. He can't see her in this situation. He remembers the time when she walked around him, waited for him every time. She misunderstood him. He doesn't think about her like that. He don't want any other boy to think about her. That's why to shoo them away he said she's dull. But that wasn't true. She was the girl he was living for. He was punishing himself by staying away from her because he hated himself. Why he loved her. But in all of this, he broke her and himself completely. How is he going to make up for all these 2 years? He got up and ran behind her, but by the time she already left, he closed his eyes tightly. He dialed her number many times, but she wasn't answering. He frustratingly sat in his car and rubbed his temple. He put his hand on the steering wheel and closed his eyes tightly. Every time that happened, he was thinking about it. I just distanced myself from you because I didn't have courage to give you to someone else. I'm regretting it now. He was murmuring thanks to himself. After half an hour, his mobile buzzed. He lazily looked at the screen. It was Ryan. She was calling him. He picked up the call without any second. Cheeky, hey Ryan, someone else. Actually, the owner of this phone is drunk and heavily. Can you take her home? Cheeky, what's the address? He told him the address. Cheeky started the car and drove furiously and reached here within no time. When he entered the club, she was shouting with bottle in her hand, standing on the table. Jungkook reached her. A boy was trying to stop her. Jungkook held her hand and pulled her in his arms. She looked at him with her half-closed eyes and tightened her grip around him. Boy, this is our phone, she hummed and left from there with her. While walking, something filled in her and she tried to come out of his grip. Wine, leave me. Why are you even here? She tried to come out of his grip, but he didn't let her. He made her sit in the car, and she tried to run away many times, but failed. Jungkook sat in the car. Wine, why are you here? I don't want to go with you, she said annoyingly. Jackie, you are going with me. He started the car. Wine, I hate you. Her eyes filled with terror. Maybe it was the effect of drink she had. Jungkook looked at her, who was holding her tears. He stopped the car and held her cheeks. I am sorry. I know I am idiot. Don't cry because of me. Her tears made way down. Jungkook got closer to her and kissed on her eyes, which were full of tears. Her eyes started to close with the time because of the drink, and within no time she was passed out. An hour passed. He was just looking at her softly. He was sleeping on the seat. He was saying how beautiful she is. When her hair strands come on her face, he got closer to her and pushed her hair back. His finger touched her face. Why I'm here. She put her hand on the head because of the pain. He passed ginger and lemonade drink to her so that she will feel better. He signaled her to drink this. She looked at it to drink and him again. Jakey, drink this. You'll feel better. Wine hesitatingly held the cup and drank it. She remembered she was in club and everything she did there. She was embarrassed. He saw her like that. She gulped. Wine, I think we should go. Jakey, you're not going anywhere until we are talking. I don't have anything to talk about anything. She tried to remove her seatbelt when Jungkook held her hand gently. Jakey, can you give me 1 minute, please? Wine looked at him and stopped. Wine didn't mean to talk about you anything in a bad way. I just love you so much that I didn't want anyone to think about you that way. That's why I said that to them. He held her hand tightly now. You're the most important girl to me. Last time at college party, I decided to propose you, but I heard your conversation with your best friend. Wine looked at him confusingly, and then you came with another boy hugging him. I thought you loved someone else, and I can't bear to see you with someone else. That's why I started distancing myself from you so I won't get hurt. He put his hand on her shoulder and held her waist tightly. You're the only girl I have ever loved. I'm sorry. I know I can't make up for the past 2 years, but please give me a chance. I can't bear to lose you again. She felt her shoulder getting wet. He was crying on her shoulder. Don't ignore me. I loved how you were always so close to me. I missed you. Please come back. Wine was silent. She was seeing his action. They both remained in that position for 10 minutes. Wine also didn't push him. She put her hand on Jungkook's back and rubbed it. Wine, I don't know. Jake pulled himself back, looked at her. Jake, you don't need to do anything. I will make it up to you for everything. Just don't ignore me. He smiled at her. Let's go. Your mom is worried for you. I'll drop you home. Jake started the car and they left from there. When they reached her home, before she would get out from the car, he hugged her and said, I'll see you tomorrow. He smiled at her and Wise was surprised to see this side of him again. He said bye and left from there. The next morning, Gwen reached the university and walking towards her classroom when someone put her hand on his shoulder and pulled her closer to him. He handed over banana milk to her. Jackie, you forgot your milkshake. He said with a smiling face. Gwen bit her lower lip and accepted it hesitatingly. Wine, thank you. She only said this. Jackie, I'll be waiting for you in the car after your lectures. He kissed her on her cheeks and left from there. Wine's face became red. She looked here and there if anyone saw them. She quickly left to the class. Later that day, she was coming up from the university with Nico when she saw Jungkook standing under the sunlight waiting for her outside his car. He kept looking at his watch time to time. When asked Nico, I'll see you tomorrow, bye. Nico said bye and left. Wine slowly approached Jungkook. Jungkook smiled. You're here, let's go. Wine nodded and sat inside. When she saw him not taking the route to her home, she asked, We're not going home? Jungkook, no. She looked at him confusingly. Wine, where are we going? Jungkook, will see in a minute. The whole day Jungkook spent with Wine. He took her to her favorite amusement park. They made many rides. After that, he took her to theater watching their favorite movie while eating popcorns. And then finally, he took her to the ice cream parlor to get her favorite ice cream. Whole day, they forgot whatever had happened. It was just the two of them who were laughing with each other. While coming out from the parlor, Jungkook held Wine's hand and looked at her. He took a long breath. Jungkook, I know all of this doesn't make up for everything that had happened, but I promise I will make sure that your everyday will be like this. He sat on his knees. Wine was shocked to see him. Jungkook, I am already too late. I don't want to be late anymore. I love you so much and I want you to be with me for the rest of my life. I promise I will love you forever and will not let you down. He waited for Wine to tell something, but she was quiet. Jungkook's heart sank if she will not accept him. She bent down to his level and smiled. She kissed him on his cheeks, telling the answer. He stands up and hugged her tightly with happy tears in his eyes. He held her up in his arms and started. He joins their forehead. JK, thank you so much. This is the best thing that happens to me in my life. He kissed her on her forehead for a long time. As they walk out of the parlor, their steps sync and their hand entwined. The night air seems to wrap around them like a promise of new beginning.